From a walking tornado to a chicken ghost that you don't want to run into, here are the top 5 Trevor Henderson creatures that should be in the SCP Foundation. Number 5 on this list is the Webkraken. The Webkraken is the first member of a subgroup called the Misty Guests. The Misty Guests are a part of the race of giants, and even though all giants have this ability to a certain extent, these giants are especially apt at producing a thick mist that surrounds them. The Trevor Henderson wiki says, from what we're able to see in the image, it has up to 11 varyingly thick legs that have a single joint that bends surprisingly early on, leading to a much longer lower legs. The appearance of its feet are currently unknown. Its big, thick body is all red. All of the creature's legs have a meeting point at a large, oval-shaped epicenter, presumably the creature's body or head. Underneath this head emanates a strange red glow. This could possibly indicate where its mouth is, or perhaps the part of the body it uses to create its signature webs. Strangely, we do not see any sort of abdomen or other body area of the creature besides the head mentioned above, which gives more of an appearance of a cephalopod. We cannot know for sure as we're unable to see the full head of the creature, only the underside of it. Aside from its impressive size and magnitude, the Webkraken does not have any clear abilities that are explicitly told or noticeable. The red underside of its head may give us a clue to what its abilities are, however. Given the creature's spider and octopus-like appearance, it may be able to excrete some sort of substance or material from this orifice, like an ink or web that it uses for offensive and defensive purposes. Another possibility that can also coincide with the previous one is that the gaping red hole we see in the image is its mouth. This could allow it to easily devour a human and even a large vehicle whole. We're talking about a giant land octopus that creates a super thick mist wherever it goes, can swallow a car whole, and can also probably spring webs or do some other creepy stuff. The fact that this isn't already in the SCP Foundation is honestly a tad bit shocking. Number 4 in this list is the chicken ghost. Okay, so this guy is just as derpy as he is creepy, but I still think that he should be in the Foundation. It's a humanoid-like creature that is really spindly. He's only supposed to be like 100 pounds, even though he's 6.5 feet tall. As we can see in the picture of him, he's clutching an egg right by his heart. This egg is thought to be that of a chicken, and he is protecting it. It isn't just this one egg he protects though. You see, one name for him is the chicken ghost, but the other and probably more accurate name for him is the god of chickens. Yeah, this is it guys, the sacred god of chickens. He is said to guard and protect all things poultry based. Now I know that sounds pretty stupid, and I mean it kind of is, but I still think he needs to be part of the SCP Foundation. First of all, this definitely wouldn't be the weirdest creature in the Foundation by a long shot. And second, maybe he doesn't look threatening on the surface, but he really could be. In 2020, it was estimated that there were 33 billion chickens in the world. In 2020, there were also just a bit more than 7.5 billion people in the world, meaning that for every human, there are about 4 chickens. So let's say this chicken god decides to wage war against the humans. He would have 33 billion soldiers at his disposal to our 7.5 billion. Let me ask you, do you think that you can fight off 4 chickens if they all attacked you at once? I'm sure that some of us could, but I bet that some of us wouldn't be able to. I do think that humans would win the war between human and chicken if there ever was one, but there would definitely be some serious casualties suffered on our side too. Either way, because of his godlike abilities, I think he belongs in the SCP Foundation. Number 3 on this list is the Precursor to the First World War. Yeah, that's actually what this Trevor Henderson creature is called, guys. The name is a bit misleading here though, because we aren't talking about the First World War that most of us are familiar with. They're actually talking about the first war between humans and giants. A long time ago, this was the only giant on the planet. The giants, by the way, are a group of Trevor Henderson creatures, and for a while, this was the only one. There was a war between this giant and the humans. This war lasted for 3 years, and there are some variations on how it ended. Some people believe that the precursor to the First World War was actually killed, but most believe that eventually the two sides came to a truce. The humans realized that as more giants popped up, they would not stand a chance and learned to live in harmony. Whatever the true history of this creature is, I think it would be an awesome addition to the SCP Foundation. This giant is said to be 1,500 feet tall and could deliver some horribly devastating devastating blows in a single hit. Apparently most giants can produce a mist around them as they move around the world, and this one is no different. It's also believed that this creature's eyesight is far superior to humans and may even have some infrared capabilities. If it truly wanted to, this beast could easily level an entire city and probably put up a decent fight against all of humanity. And considering this is the granddaddy of the giants race, I imagine that he could summon the other giants to fight alongside him. In which case, I think you could make a strong argument for how humans would stand absolutely no chance at all. We should probably have him enter the SCP Foundation and have some professionals keeping an eye on him. Number 2 on this list is the Dummy. The Dummy is a character that I've actually talked about on this channel before. We had a series a little while ago looking at some Trevor Henderson characters that I thought needed their own horror film. The Dummy was definitely one of them. I also think that this weird looking thing needs to be part of the SCP Foundation too. This is one of the most deadly creatures on this list because it literally excretes death. The Trevor Henderson wiki writes, it can produce a powerful aura that kills living things around it and has a rot-inducing touch that can cause humans to rot. Causes all living organisms to die around it like the effects of radiation. Possibly able to just cause bad luck all the way up to breaking reality and other ailments like many monsters can do. A rot-inducing touch. Yeah, that is a big no thank you from me. This thing is literally just walking death, and it likes to kill humans as well. This is tailor-made to be part of the Foundation, and I'd be way happier if it was. Number 1 on this list is the Wandering Faith. This creature has all the makings of something in the SCP Foundation if you ask me. The Trevor Henderson wiki says, the Wandering Faith is one of the most known members of the Giants, the group of titanic creatures that roam the Earth in a separate universe from other cryptids. Since this is the case, this means that the Wandering Faith arrived on Earth via the summoning of a second moon, presumably by the moon worshippers. It also likely appeared prior to the aggressive period of the Giants due to the first few weather reports seemingly show the creature to be relatively friendly, but getting more active in the later weather reports. Like other giants of similar features, the Wandering Faith is not very aggressive or intentionally destructive, with their only goal being to collect certain chosen humans to ascend into salvation based on their worthiness. Aside from its destructive and clearly capable size, the Wandering Faith is able to grab multiple humans at once in order to ascend them using its extendable tendrils that hang from its head-neck area. It also appears to have very thick and wrinkly skin, not unlike a large mammal. This would serve as moderate protection from attacks from human weapons and artillery. So I think one of my biggest questions with this thing is, how do we know that we're ascending to salvation? If you ask me, this creature looks a hell of a lot like that one big shadow beast in the second season of Stranger Things. It looks evil, it looks like it's out to get me, and it doesn't look like the type of creature I want to mess with. So why is it that we think this thing is going to send us to salvation or heaven or wherever it's going to take us? In my opinion, there is a much higher likelihood that the giant walking tornado thing is going to mess you up rather than take you somewhere nice. Granted, I could be wrong though, and maybe getting sucked up by this creature is a good thing, but then the question is, what does it do to the people that don't worship it? I think any way you slice this, somebody is getting annihilated by the giant godlike storm creature. Oh, and also it's roughly 1.5 kilometers tall and weighs almost 2 million tons. I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable if the SCP Foundation was doing something about this thing. But there you have it, guys. That is our list of the top 5 Trevor Henderson creatures that should be in the SCP Foundation. Please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this list and some other scary creatures that you think belong in the Foundation as well. Also, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Nicholas Playlog, and I will catch you next time.